Now this is part 3 of my video that has no real purpose, just me waffling on about what I look for in horses. I won't cover this dude after all. He might end up being retired in the end because I have a brother to him by the same sire, and the dam herself wasn't that special. She was just something I was experimenting with lower jumping lines. Dumbledore's by William, which I covered briefly at the end of part 2. He's got that Norman Nessie cross, which I really like, and he was out of a mare that wasn't very... She was by a very nice sire, but not out of a very strong dam line. There's that Rip Van Winkle influence that I really like, but that's all that was to really like about that mare, and about Voodoo Sushi herself. Him I haven't used yet as a sire. Lochinvar I covered in another video. He's got that Helios Nessie cross. See, him I probably need to retire if I'm going to be used in camp, because I don't like a big influence of horses in my stock. They can have a little bit, but I like to keep them reasonably varied. Mickey Bull. Haven't used him as a sire yet, I don't think, but he was by the bullfighter out of Kalgoorlie. So a lot of Australian naming influence in there. The bullfighter was Rip Van Winkle Sontaine. Sontaine, I think, was out of Century, which makes her half-sister to Cersei. Both Century and... No, she was out of Camarina. Okay, ignore me. Camarina, I think, is related to Century, though. I had a thing where I went through seas. Unless Sontaine was a dam of Century. No, I have to go look. Yeah, she was a dam of Century. See, I knew that was in there somewhere. So he's a half-sister to Century. He was the dam of Cersei. And Cersei was ranked 13 at best. And the bullfighter himself's no slouch. He's jumping 79 inches. I sold him for a fair bit. Like, I think it was 80k, which is alright for a stallion. Oh, what was it? Was it 80k? Yeah, it was 80k. So he had some really nice foals. You can see Brave Pony, Dorothy Gale was renamed. I did not name that horse that. Aggressive is jumping about 78 inches, I think. Vale and Conchita Cintron. Conchita was ranked 8 at best. Vale was ranked 11 at best. So this is no slouch as a stallion, and if he's still up for stud when you see this video, go send a few to him. Have a bit of my lines in you. Look, that Rip Van Winkle cross, like I was explaining before. But as you can see, he's present in Mickey Bull, and then we got Kalgoorlie with that Schofield influence. So he's got that double cross of Rip Van Winkle Schofield, which I absolutely love. And I'm pretty sure Conquistador had nice lines as well if I go back far enough. No, not him. Yeah, see, Mazeppa is in there. I'm going to use this horse now that I've gone through his lines. This would be the perfect stallion for me to send a mare to. He's got everything I like to see in one of my own horses in him. So I might end up breeding to him after this. I already covered Nephilim in one of the other videos. Ollivander was just a play around breeding just to see. San Frontieros only jumped about 74 inches. Zafina. Zombie Elf is another handy horse to have in your immediate pedigree, well not immediate pedigree, your far back pedigree. He had some very nice horses just after the updates. And Better Dig 2. I don't particularly like that dude, but obviously he's had a bit of cool influence. There's my Norman Maid Marian influence again, just going through all these horses, just the influence. I don't care if I don't get a direct foal by or out of them, I like influence. Continuum in Nymeria. Nymeria jumped about 81 inches, I think. 80.5. Silent Heart is by Silent Witness. So another Silent Witness line in there that's very handy to have. Rip Van Winkle again. Pretty sure Health Singer had Schofield in there somewhere. No, Azkaban. It's Azkaban. Just these lines I like. I keep them. You know, once a line produces well, it's in my horses forever, pretty much. Sacred Park. Probably never retiring this dude, actually. Not too fussed with affirmed horses. I haven't seen massive influence by him yet, so I was just playing around when I was breeding these horses. Rip Van Winkle again, Azkaban again. Just all these horses as seen on TV. Some more Azkaban in there. Whoops. I pirated my windows, so... Atmosphere. I wasn't too fussed about this dude, but Rampel himself is kind of nice to have in a pedigree. And then we got Shaitan with that Iblis Brave. Brave I really liked. I was so glad she turned out well. Stark and Fearless. Fearless was very handy to have in a pedigree because of the efficient. So those are your 3 big old pre-update stallions there. Silent Witness, Efficient, and FSI Mazeppa. even though they were overused in the day, even though they're still alive and can still be used today, they're very, very handy to have back in a pedigree. Just very, very handy to have a program. Do not slam them because they were overused. I know I slam stallions at the moment because they're overused. Eventually, because I do have them influencing my lines anyway, they're going to be far back in my horse's pedigrees, and I'll have new influence coming through, and it'll all add up. It's like stacking dominoes sort of thing, you know, it all add up. The tower will build, the horses will get better. I'll go through my mares, a couple of my mares in another video, just to see if there are any other different lines in there that I can explain, but those are my stallion lines, and I'm very picky with stallions. I will not breed from a stallion that does not have good lines. If I'm bored enough and they're cheap enough, I will throw a couple of mares to a random stallion that might come from bad lines but be good himself, just to see, because that's how I found Rip Van Winkle, that's how I found Azkaban, that's how I found Schofield. They were bad from bad lines, and look what they've started, look what they have, look what they're influencing in my horses, look at my horses' ranks that I showed you, look at my barn rank. It all adds up, and it really annoys me when people don't understand that I work so hard to keep these lines in my horses, but because they're not related to the big supers, they're not good. So yeah, just do not slam it. Go through pedigrees. Be very picky about what you're putting in your horses. Be very decisive about the influences you like in your horses. Even if my influences in my horses don't work for you, just find your niche, find what you like, find what works for you, and hold on to it. And make sure the horses you like are appearing in your horses' pedigrees. So this is the end of the stallion video at any rate.